The spark for Mulholland Drive was the name, and the name on a signpost in the night, partially for a moment illuminated by headlights of a car. Mulholland Drive is a road in Los Angeles that goes along the crest of the Santa Monica Mountains, and it's a beautiful road in the daytime, but also a beautiful road at night, giving vistas out to the valley on one side and Hollywood on the other. The Mind is a beautiful place, and how big is the mind, we don't know. But ideas sometimes come into the mind, and this makes me crazy. I don't know where they come from. I don't know where they are. And I recently been talking about ideas as fish. And they are swimming, and once in a while we catch one. And they pop into the conscious mind and explain everything to us.
Did you hear someone cough in the background of that about halfway through?
It wasn't me this time.
I've never felt more like David Lynch than this moment. I didn't hear that when I put the clip together, but with the headphones on, I could hear it. Maybe I should listen to the clips before I put it together. There it is.
I did that special for you.
To quote one of the great movies of all time, Search for Bobby Fischer. There it is.
Yeah, yeah.
Lawrence Fishburne.
My mom made a Bobby Fischer reference over Easter.
That's Vinny who sleeps in the park. I'm supposed to take his opinion too. Vinny's a drug addict. Why have we not covered that movie? Oh, because it's not a horror movie.
I don't know. It's kind of scary, the abandonment, that the emotional distance between the father and son.
Why are you standing so far away from him?
Right? It's got William H. Macy.
It's got Laura Linney.
It's got Monk.
It's got
High Hopes. Other people.
Who plays his wife?
Joan
Allen.
Joan Allen. That's right. Oh, it's got the other guy.
Joe Montana.
Picard. No, not Picard.
Ben Kingsley.
Yeah, Gandhi.
Yes, his second best role, Gandhi. After, what was his name in this movie?
Joe.
This is a good segue because I have a correction and apology. Actually, I have two.
Oh boy, again?
To quote the late Val Kilmer, got two apologies, one for each of you.
Go Val Kilmer.
I did one, and you did one.
Bullshit.
Last week, when we talked about Lost Highway.
That's a good one.
That is a good one. I brought up the movie. You brought up the movie, Grosse Point Blank. I went on to say how much I love the movie, and I was able to accurately identify John Cusack's character as Martin, but I couldn't get his last name.
McFly.
Never occurred to me. It's blank. That's why the movie's called Grosse Point Blank. There's a correction, and I apologize for that.
You should, because now I feel stupid. Somehow you made me feel stupid by telling me the answer.
Well, you also claimed that Robert Downey Jr. was an Operation Dumbo Drop. He is not.
Yeah, he is.
And I went through the cast list, and I don't even know who you could have mistaken him for.
What movie was he flying an elephant in then?
I don't think that's a real movie. Because I even went so far as to look up if there was an elephant in Dr. Dolittle, and there is not. So I don't know.
I never saw all of Iron Man 2. Was there an elephant involved with the helicopter or an Iron Man suit?
I didn't see all of Iron Man 2 either. It's terrible.
Really? I swear to God, he was an Operation Dumbo Drop. I think your internet movie database is wrong.
It's Danny Glover, Ray Liotta, and then a bunch of people I've never heard of.
Ray Liotta was in Operation... Oh, yeah, he was.
Yeah, he was playing Robert Downey Jr.'s character.
He was.
From the original play you saw.
Yeah, I saw the original. What are those little test teasers they send out to try to get funding? That's where Robert Downey was attached.
So they pulled a rug pull there.
Although did.
Ray Liotta bigger than Robert Downey Jr. at the time of Operation Dumbo Drop. Robert Downey Jr. is probably near the blacklist at that point from drug use. And
I still remember. I don't remember. Never mind. So anyway.
So if you wanted to double down on what your Operation Dumbo Drop knowledge.
I don't know. I'm conflicted. I'm as conflicted as I feel after watching all of David Lynch's movies.
This is breaking news, because last week on Lost Highway, you had no confliction at all, and you were like, here's what it was about, and then you went on to, scene for scene, describe what happened in the scene without context.
Well, that's kind of what happens in this movie.
I've
watched this movie. I watched this movie 3 times. How many times have you seen it?
Ever?
Yeah.
I don't know, a dozen.
Okay, well 4, because I had to do the credit check.
Well, you didn't watch the whole movie to watch a credit check.
No. I didn't watch the whole movie 3 times either.
When you say you watched it 3 times, did you stop 3 times and then pick it up where you left off?
I stopped twice.
I see what you're saying.
5 times. Because here's another problem I had with the movie.
What was the first problem?
It was 2 hours and 29 minutes.
What was the first problem?
That was the first problem.
So what was another problem? Yeah.
Another problem, the ending was too dark. Oh, and I couldn't see anything because my phone's all cracked. And the third time I watched it, I couldn't see the whole ending, so I had to watch it a 5th time just to see the ending again.
I guess I have a follow-up question. Why are you watching David Lynch movies on your phone?
Because the kids were awake and I couldn't.
There's a TV here.
That
TV there.
That TV down here in the basement. Every time you're not here, the color gets all weird and it messes up and it goes back to pitch black.
Worse than a cracked phone.
And the sound is all bad down here because you see how it's hidden in this little alcove. It all just blasts up the stairs instead of out. So I got to crank it up, and then everyone upstairs comes down and yells at me.
It took till year 3, but I've discovered why you don't like any of these movies when you watch them and then end up liking them when we talk about them. It's because you're watching them on a cracked phone.
It was terrible. Terrible, I tell you. So anyway, I've seen it 5 times. So
you've had 5 showings of 20 minutes at a time.
No, I would have had to need way more to finish this movie. That's how long it was.
You're good at math.
I'm good at knowing how long a movie takes for me to have to sit still and watch.
All right, but we're off to a hot start on the last week of David Lynch month.
And then I'm trying to explain to Kitty when she comes downstairs, and I'm sitting here watching the last 5 minutes too because I couldn't see it, because it's all black. And when you see it, and I'm like, she's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm finishing it." And she asked me something, just the explanation. And I was like, "Well, a monster let some little people out of a bag, and now it's chasing Naomi Watts down a hallway, and now they're big old people and they're chasing her, and none of that really had anything else to do with the movie." And she's like, "Oh, so you don't like it?" And I was like, "No, I really do, and I want to watch it again."
The old people do have something to do with the movie.
Oh, yeah?
They appear 2 other times.
I know they appeared 2 other times.
Okay.
Yeah. What? All right. Why don't you tell me? Because I know you're gonna come out here and tell me, "Oh, this is in someone's head. There's an ego and an id, and there's representations of."
This is what you think I do.
Yeah, this is exactly what I think you do. And it was all in her head, and she really did kill somebody, and now she's in an electric chair. Even though this one, there's no electric chair on film this time either.
Well, no electric chair, but the other thing that you just said is the popular theory on what happens in Mulholland Drive.
What?
That the first hour and 45 minutes, hour 50 minutes takes place in Diane Selwyn's head, and then she wakes up to the realization of what she's done, and she ordered a hit on her girlfriend. So it actually is the same plot as Lost Highway, except she does not die in an electric chair. She shoots herself in the head at the end of the movie, and probably too dark for you to see that, but that's exactly what happens with no mistaking it.
No.
She pulls a gun out and shoots herself in the head.
See, I do have questions about that. No, because all right.
I don't subscribe fully to the popular theory of what happens in Mulholland Drive.
So what do you think? Because I know what I think happens.
Well, it feels like we have 3 different things then. We should explain the actual theory that is the most popular.
Well,
we can do what you have, and we can do what I have.
All right. So again, like all of David Lynch's movies, there's no way to wrap this up in a synopsis. I can't tell you, hey, it's about some lady named Naomi Watts, but she's got a different name in the movie. And that's
she has 2 different names in the movie.
She has 2 different names. And credit check, spoiler alert, the 2 different characters have names.
Yes.
And then they have Naomi Watts listed twice and somebody else listed twice. I can't remember her name.
Hair.
Yes. For some reason I thought she was one of the Tillys, Jennifer Tilly perhaps.
Don't know why I thought that.
Because I was thinking of Bound.
Yeah, but she doesn't look like Jennifer Tilly. She doesn't sound like Jennifer Tilly.
I know. So
on your phone, I can't tell you what she looked like.
No, I saw the rest of the movie on normal TVs, but just that last half hour, which was the darkest half hour.
It's the half hour that takes place in some people's opinion, reality.
It was all reality, man, just like all his movies.
Well, that's probably true because he thinks dreams are just another version of reality anyway, or another place that counts just as much. That's why most of this movie is the dream.
Okay.
That's how you interpret it.
All right.
No, it's definitely a dream. I have 0 doubt that it's a dream.
There is no dream. Okay.
The movie opens with her falling asleep. It literally is her head crashing down on a pillow, and then the dream starts.
How do you know that's not her getting killed?
Now, who?
I don't know. Whoever we saw crashing down on the bed.
It's Naomi Watts' character.
Yeah, it's her because she was dead in the bed later too.
Yes, because that's her in reality because she'd shot herself, and she's seeing those things bleed into the dream. Now listen. I don't even subscribe to this theory. I know it's a dream. There's no way around it. It's a dream. There's 0 chance around it.
All right.
I just think they're both dreams. And it's not, she doesn't wake up into reality. We're seeing 2 different versions of a dream she's having after she went to jitterbug competition if she were to go to Hollywood. That's always been my interpretation. because both of them are so extremely best and worst case scenarios. I show up in Hollywood and the directors are all into me and I get cast right away and I'm going to become a star. And the other one, I'm getting screwed out of parts because there's this hidden mafia of Hollywood that's keeping me down. It's the only reason because everybody loves me and I'm getting screwed. Both of them are so extreme that I don't think either of them could be reality. The way people read it is the Betty part where she's Betty and Rita has lost her memory and she's got to help her figure it out and they're doing the mystery. And all the way up until they disappear is a dream. And it's dreamt by Diane Selwyn.
Who is Naomi Watts? Who is Betty?
Who has ordered a hit on her girlfriend, Camilla Rhodes. And this explains why all of the characters we see at the dinner the day before she does it are all appearing in her dream. It's once again the Wizard of Oz. And you were there, and you were there, and you were there. And that explains why even that cowboy that passes by ends up in this dream. It explains why everybody is in this dream. And she wakes up because the movie begins with sounds of her doing drugs and then passing out on the bed. And then she wakes up in the bed and she remembers that it's real because the blue key is there. The hitman had told her when it's done, this will be where I told you. The key's sitting there. She realizes she had killed, the hit had gone off. And then she kills herself because she's haunted by the jitterbug people. That's why I don't think that happens in reality, because that's insane. Because that's one thing that has never worked for me as to why people think that's reality. Because the jitterbug judges can't become tiny people, crawl under your door, and then chase you to murder yourself.
See, this is where that's where I thought you would just be like, oh, it's all in your head, or like you said,
Well,
all that other
that.
stuff. Yeah. No, you said it was a dream.
Where does a dream happen?
I don't know. Wherever dreams take place.
In your head?
No.
It's a wish your heart makes?
Disney World, Florida. All your dreams come true in Florida.
Well, they come true in Hollywood if you're Betty, and they don't come true if you're Diane.
What? I don't even remember how Betty's thing ended. She went to...
Betty disappears right before Rita opens the blue box where the memories would be stored, in theory.
I'm trying to think back because they go to that weird theater, Betty and Rita.
Club Silencio.
But for a minute there, first off, I thought for a while that what's her face, Rita, who shows up with after the car crash, I thought she was a ghost the whole time because the only person who ever sees her is Betty. And I'm like, is this just a ghost thing?
Except that's not true because the landlady sees her.
Yeah,
her friend sees
later
her.
on.
Yeah,
it takes a while. So for a good stretch, I thought she might be a ghost. And I was like, ooh, interesting. That's not the case. If anyone was excited by the prospect of this being a ghost story, it's not.
Well, she's haunting Diane in some ways, if that's true.
I don't remember where I was going before I said that ghost thing.
You were going to tell me what you thought happened, and it was just going to be a shot-for-shot explanation of this movie.
Well, you can't because too much happens. What you're doing, though, is ignoring, and now because this is firmly in the Lynchiverse, we've established that there are these other entities, these things on the outside.
Lodge monsters.
Yeah, lodge monster. There was a goddamn dream monster that kills a guy in the beginning of this one, or he has the dream. There's the guy sitting in the diner, and then he's like, "Oh yeah, you were here, and you were here just like your dream thing, the Wizard of Oz."
The week we're recording this, the dumpster monster, or whatever you want to call it, has just reappeared on John Mulaney's talk show on Netflix. He said, we have some special guests in the crowd. He's like, the dumpster monster from Mulholland Drive, played by the same actress, Bonnie Aarons, who plays the nun in the Nun movies. But she recreated the role for just a bit where she's sitting in the crowd looking like she did in Mulholland Drive. And it was hilarious. But that's 25 years old, that movie. John Mulaney brought it up the week we're recording this.
It's a dumpster monster, but this is part of the Lynch thing. These entities. It killed that guy, by the way. He dreamed about it.
I agree.
And then the monster appears. It's not it's like a weird thing. It's not.
I just call them lodge monsters because that's the best way to describe
it. Yeah. And then we saw the little backwards talking dwarf guy. Like he was there.
Yes, but he wasn't a dwarf this time. They gave him, like he was 6 feet tall in his chair. That's why he's not moving out of the chair. Yeah. They gave him long legs.
Oh, really?
They gave him long legs.
No, I didn't. See,
they gave him on Blu-ray. They gave him long arms and long legs, and he's talking and he runs the mythical cabal that is keeping poor Betty out of not Betty, Diane. I guess no. This is one of the things about the movie that I find most interesting. On 2 different occasions, we watch Rita fall asleep, and then scenes happen while she's sleeping. And this is why my argument is, it's not really an argument. It's why my position is, I think they're both dreams, and I think that somehow Rita can dream into the other one. Because we're seeing scenes that seem very disconnected after Rita falls asleep. but they'd connect to more to what happens after Betty wakes up. And we're seeing the Diane Selwyn stuff. So Betty's dreaming of this perfect world, maybe, and Laura Herring's character is dreaming of this Diane Selwyn character.
Okay.
I don't know why they would purposely show Laura Herring falling asleep twice and then cut to unconnected scenes that don't fit really well with the Betty storyline.
Right. Right. Whereas if you go with my version,
We don't know what your version is yet. We're still waiting.
so we got the Lodge Monsters.
Yes.
Still waiting. That was a movie with not Ryan Reynolds anymore. They brought in
That's
somebody else. Do you remember the guy on Arrested Development who played the second lawyer after they got rid of...
Yeah, Scott Baio.
No, not him. There was the other one in between. He was like, I shall hide behind the sofa. He was on The Daily Show as a correspondent. On Community, he was the teacher who was like he sees the day.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That guy. It was him.
John Michael Higgins.
He was in part 2. Still Waiting.
Yeah.
But anyway, I never saw Still Waiting.
I don't even think I saw Waiting.
I saw part of it. It was pretty good.
We still don't know what you think happened in Mulholland Drive.
All right. So we're accepting that the Lodge Monsters are there and they're real. So we're set in this reality because I think all the Lynchiverse is a thing, like the Munchiverse. It's all interconnected. So with these people here, with the dwarf, with this Lodge Monster thing by the dumpster, it is the story of Naomi Watts. I guess she is angry at her girlfriend for breaking up with her. Her girlfriend's a movie person. She makes a deal because we saw in Lost Highway that some of these Lodge Monsters will make deals. They're not just trying to make you, like get suffered. They'll offer you something in return. Like Bill Pullman made that deal to turn into something else.
Not what happened in that movie. So
It is.
I was going to say you're basing this on a very flawed interpretation of another movie.
Okay, that hurts. I listened to what you had to say, and it was clearly nonsense. Like, so far. Oh, dreams within dreams. What is this, Inception? It's not Inception. Was that the one where they had dreams within dreams?
Yeah.
Okay, I was right. I thought it was Interstellar for a minute. That's the one that had Matt Damon. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it did. Okay, so she makes a deal with one of these entities. I don't know which one. And the problem she hit, like I guess what it is she makes the deal to become famous, like her famous girlfriend who doesn't love her and broke up with her and was kind of weird. She meets one of these things and she makes the deal.
Why don't we see that?
Because you don't need to. You never see these things in these movies.
No, you didn't see it in Lost Highway either, right?
No, but it was clearly there.
Okay.
It was because that explains away everything else.
No,
it
doesn't.
really does.
We went over this last week. It really does not.
No, because then you that guy, all those interconnected scenes that don't make sense. You're like, why would they do that? It's because they're just showing the impact that this has on the world. Like there's those points, like the Black Lodge, right? Like they're like ways.
Let's just get back to what you think happened in this movie because I still know closer to figuring it out.
That's what I think happened. She made a deal. She was supposed to become rich and famous, and she hired. The part of the deal was it. What's his face? She had to die. See, they have so many different names. I can't keep them straight. It is Rita. What was her name before? Camilla. Right. So Camilla and I guess Betty are
two people
Diane.
that do not interact in this movie.
Camilla and Diane.
Okay.
They're dating.
Yes.
Camilla makes it big, and Diane breaks up with Diane, and Diane doesn't take it well, makes the deal because Camilla's hurtful.
But we see her make an actual deal with a hitman.
Yeah, and
not a lodge monster.
No, the hitman works for the Lodge Monsters because you can see him when they make that chain of phone calls. The hitman's one of them. He picks up the phone. He's got the same arm. I've seen it. I saw this movie 5 times, Brian.
All right.
So he's part of it. He works for him. But you know what he is? He's bungling. We've established
only in one of the sets of realities. Only in the Betty reality.
It's all one reality.
She can't be both Betty and Diane.
She is because she made the deal to become the reality changes and the whole reality changes. But because she had a bungling hitman to do it, he left Rita alive. She was supposed to be dead to cement this reality as firm.
If I was to take any of this seriously, there's a simple question.
All right.
Why doesn't Betty know who Rita is?
Because the reality has changed. She doesn't know who Diane is either. Everything has changed, but Rita's supposed to be dead, but she hired a bungling hitman. They've got this guy who just isn't good. He's probably going to get killed by the Lodge Monsters because you can't deal with that level of incompetence.
Who ordered the hit?
One of the Lodge people because they wanted...
Who made the deal?
What do you mean?
How is Rita connected to Betty?
How is Rita connected to Betty? She's not. She's supposed to be dead because Betty is supposed to be the new Claudia. Camilla. She's supposed to be the new Camilla in this reality. So Rita's not supposed to be there, or Camilla's not supposed to be there. She's supposed to be dead. So it's a hitch in the plan, in this whatever deal it was to create suffering, because that's what they feed on.
See, this is the problem. They're not actually the Lodge monsters. They're not looking for Garmin Bozia.
What the hell is a cowboy? Yeah, you don't, because they all have different, these things don't all have the agenda of misery necessarily. We don't know what they're, because there's this cowboy wandering through who clearly is supernatural. He brings a dead person to life. What does he do? He's creepy.
You
he
generally
appears.
know what's supernatural because it's preceded by, as in this case, electricity.
Oh, yeah.
He's at the ranch. It's dark. The lights crackle. He appears. The lights go off, and he's gone.
That's
electricity is what delivers these supernatural things.
Yeah, there's some connection there between them. But so that's what, and then Rita, that's where their memories start to unravel because they're realizing who each other are, and that brings everything crashing back. And I do think she probably does kill herself. I don't know why those little monsters.
We see her shoot herself in the head.
I think she probably does kill herself because everything is just so much. Like, she ruined everything that she had done, and she did bad. She was racked with guilt for having murdered. And then that little blue box, the dumpster monster just kind of throws it in his big bag of stuff,
right,
like it's an unimportant thing.
It's better than your Lost Highway take.
But it's all part of the same thing.
It's better than your Lost Highway.
There were parts of this movie where I thought the Lost Highway was being referenced because it was driving at night and there was blackness. I'm like, "Ooh, this is the Lost Highway," and I really got excited that Bill Pullman was going to show up.
It's better than your Lost Highway opinion.
It's all part of the same thing.
I have a question.
I'm vaguely insulted by that. It's better than.
I'm trying to openly insult you, so I'm not doing a very good job. I have an obvious question then.
All right.
Why did she make this deal?
Because she was angry because Claudia
What
dumped
deal
her.
are we talking? That she's going to become the famous one like Camilla Rhodes was?
Yeah.
Then why doesn't that happen?
It was happening. When she was Betty, she was getting everything, but Rita was there messing
She never
it
got
up.
cast in one thing.
She
That
was
was the whole point of being Betty, is that she's getting screwed over by cabals and things.
Okay.
That doesn't change from her reality. She's not successful. And the reason in this delusion that she's not successful is that it has to be something else. It has to be people are strong-arming the director who loved me at first sight, which happens all the time in Hollywood, that he loved me at first sight, but he's been told he'll be killed if he doesn't cast this Camilla Rhodes character. So it's not making her a star. It's giving her the excuses as to why she's failed.
See, no.
No, that's exactly what happens.
No,
that's not debatable.
Whatever the Lodge monsters' reasons are, they want this person, Camilla, like they have that picture, which is a different person in the meetings. This is who we want. This is who it has to be. And what was supposed to happen is Betty, who gave that crazy performance, and everyone's like, that's great, and the agent takes her across the street, is about to meet the director who was told that he has to cast this person, the one the Lodge monsters want. He has to. He sees Betty, and he clearly she's about to give an audition to him, and he's gonna pick her. That's the route. But she's like, I can't. I have to go meet Rita, who's not supposed to be there. She's supposed to be dead. She would have been on that projected path. She would have been discovered. He would have picked her, and it would have been, oh no, them versus the Lodge monsters.
What do you mean she wasn't supposed to be there?
Rita's not supposed to be dead, but that hitman bungled it.
So,
and she would have met the director, Betty would have, but she's like, I can't, I have to go meet Rita. If Rita wasn't there, if she had been dead like the plan, then it would have worked.
then what is the point of all the talk from the mafia about having to do this thing?
That was what the setup was supposed to be, but everything got messed up because of it.
I don't understand. Explain that.
What do you mean?
You're saying that the plan was foiled because the bungling hitman
Yes.
didn't kill Rita, even though we see at the beginning it's not the same hitman. It's not the same guy in the car that she hires in reality.
Yeah, no.
So,
Because I think he subcontracted out
okay,
to
so
the
now
chauffeur.
he's had his deal with monsters we never see, and also he has subcontractors. Okay,
Yes.
who are also bungling. Who also bungle.
Well, that wasn't them. That was the joyriders who smashed into the car.
It's true, but they could have. Killing one girl shouldn't be that hard when she's locked in the back of your car.
Well, who knows what they were going to take? They didn't want to mess up that car. That was a fancy car. You take her out in the woods.
I'm lost. And the funny thing is, I wasn't that lost watching the movie, but it's talking to you that's made me lost.
Because
So,
you are
in your
taking-
opinion, all the stuff that happens with the mafia, the studio mafia, is worthless.
No. What
because it was building to nothing because she was going to get the part.
Yeah, well, that was going to be the problem. Was whatever monster she made the deal with isn't necessarily a lodge monster. It's an entity that was moving differently than, like, different purposes than the lodge monsters. They wanted Camilla to be the star, but Betty, because she made this other deal with.
But you're only thinking they're lodge monsters or monsters of any kind because they cast the same actor.
Yeah, and they've been the same things in every movie.
But he's not the same thing in this movie because he's not 3 feet tall.
He 100% is. That's all fake, and you know it. He's sitting, all the Red Room references. You see the red curtains. You see the red lampshade. Like, it is very clearly these people are connected with the, what do we call that universe?
There isn't a name for it.
Yeah, there is. The lodge room, hotel lodge, Econo Lodge.
I'm befuddled again.
You're the one who makes me watch these movies. I watch them, and I'm very excited because it is this giant, sprawling tale of these things on the outside that have interactions with us, and we don't know what they are or their motives, but we can kind of piece it together, which is why I want to watch these movies again, because some of that could be messing with your head, so maybe some of your theories are right, but I don't necessarily know because this is the one I've seen the most. All the other ones I've only seen one time. But I want to watch it again because I have so many questions. Why was the director throwing paint all over his cheating wife's jewelry?
I could only answer that through the understanding of why any of that's happening, which isn't going to fit into what you've come up with. So I don't know what to do with it.
Well, it does fit. I just haven't figured it out yet.
Oh, I see.
Well, what's yours? It's a dream.
That person, Adam,
the
Kesher or
director,
whatever, is the man in the other reality that Camilla Rhodes leaves her for.
Okay.
And in the new reality that if you want, from your perspective, she created by making an unseen deal and then was bungled by a subcontractor. We also don't see that happen. If you want to start with that, or if you want to go with the popular theory that she's having a drug-infused nightmare.
When did she do drugs?
You hear it at the very first thing in the movie is you hear her snorting drugs and then crash out on the bed, and it goes right into the pillow, and then you open up in the other dream.
Oh, so this is, you yell at me for things that happen off camera, and you're
except it's happening.
You told me in the last movie there was an electric chair.
They talked about an electric chair, and then I watched them get fried to death on the Lost Highway. However you want to do it, that man who stole her love. And, Camilla Rhodes, not a great person, loves to shove it right in her face constantly. In the other reality, in the dream or the other reality or however you want it to be, that man is getting cheated on by his wife, is bossed around, is basically a cuck, can't do anything right. She's put him into a position of weakness where everything goes wrong for him because she hates him. That's the best way to describe what's happening there.
Whereas I took it in this version of the reality, the Betty version, is that because he was fighting them, he was being a difficult person, he was fighting the studio lodge monsters, that they were ruining his life until he was forced to. So when the cowboy goes and talks to him, he's lost everything, and he's just more, at that point, beaten down and gives in to their demands.
Did you see who his wife was cheating on him with?
Yeah, it was Billy Ray Cyrus.
Billy Ray Cyrus.
And his achy, breaky heart. He left that director with an achy, breaky heart, he did. But what was I saying now? Yeah. So anyway, he was ruining his life. So that was the whole point. When he met Betty, when he saw Betty at that, she was about to talk to him, that would have changed everything. He was staring at her for a long time and stuff. Like, there was clearly...
Then how does the studio mafia storyline wrap up? I'm going to kill you if you don't cast this girl, and then he doesn't cast the girl. What happens next in the story?
That would have been what happened. That could have happened. Possibly, that's where the movie could have gone, but Rita...
What kind of fucking deal did she make with this unseen lodge monster?
It was the one where she takes over the place of whatever Claudia is, or Camilla, or whatever the hell her name was. God, I hate these movies where they keep changing. This is somehow more confusing than Lost Highway.
Oh, I agree. It's definitely more confusing than Lost Highway.
And I want to yell at it for being 2.5 hours, and I will, because Jesus Christ. But also, you need all of it.
It changes movies again, though. So you can say one movie's only half an hour, one movie's 2 hours.
We said, Kitty and I thought, because I'd watching it, and I knew you had told me that the characters, like, they keep this.
I wish I hadn't, because it sounds like you kind of paused it, like, right when you would have turned on the next time and been like, wait a minute, That wasn't her name.
Well, no, I was thinking of as soon as it changed, letting Kitty finish the movie. And then I wouldn't see it, and then just try to compare notes and just see what kind of movie it was. But I didn't have time to figure out how that would work. So it would have been interesting, because then we would have had two very different movies.
It's a Wizard of Oz thing. It's always the way to go back to, because he's been open about that being such a big influence, and it just happens too often in these movies that, Wizard of Oz, was it a dream? Was it not? I think that's why he loves Wizard of Oz, because in some ways to interpret it, it's a dream. We watch Return to Oz. Is that a dream? Maybe.
No.
Is it the delusion of a sick girl? Maybe. Is it really there? Maybe. That's what he likes about it. He likes the ambiguity.
Hey, I think I might be stealing your bit here, but the queen with the heads, I think she died recently.
She did.
That makes me sad. I'm sad that you confirmed it.
She's got many heads left.
Oh, that's right. I hope she takes a nice one this time. All right.
They all seem to be kind of bitches, though. They were ratting out Dorothy as she was in the hallway.
Oh, yeah, they are.
They saw her in the hallway.
Someday.
I saw her in the hallway.
Yay, I'm glad that button's back.
It's on the schedule. We'll see if it ever happens.
All right. What was this? So anyway, I like these movies. I do wonder when I think back, because this is the last movie. I've seen 4 more of these, 5 more. I've seen a bunch of, I'm a bit of a David Lynch authority at this point, Brian. So I don't know, if I went into this movie with 0 authority on David Lynch, would I enjoy it as much? Like, just cold. Would I understand the significance of like the monsters and things like that? Would I be able to understand that yeah, I would. Because you pick up there's a deeper universe. There's a lot going on behind the scenes. But the more you see, the more you can put it all together and start to figure out, how these things operate. I know you think the look on your face says, oh, I want to make fun of Pete, but his ideas are right. It all hangs together.
Like I said, I like your ideas in this one a lot better than I like them in Lost Highway.
They're the same thing. It's all part of the same thing.
When we watch these David Lynch movies that your brain works differently than mine. So that's good, because we're going to watch them and see different things. What I did not expect was that when you sat down to look for connections, they would be to other movies and not things happening in the movie you were watching. It's a fascinating way to look at things, because you're like, but that doesn't make sense because of what happened in Lost Highway. And I'm like, that is not a prerequisite for things making sense in Mulholland Drive.
It kind of, yeah, you're right. You're right. It doesn't have to, but it doesn't necessarily, because these are different entities. Some are the same. They're all the same thing. It's just, there's certain rules that they all follow. Clearly you can find. This movie, like I said, was just it's one of his typical stories about, oh, this girl doesn't like her ex, and now she's going to do something with some evil thing. Jealousy plays a big role in these outsiders' motivations.
How upset were you, hour 55 minutes into the movie, when the music started?
When was it? Oh, God.
At Club Silencio, when the woman came out and lip sync to a Spanish version of Roy Orbison's Crying.
And then there was a magician.
Which, if you go back to Blue Velvet, Dean Stockwell lip sync Roy Orbison's In Dreams. Is he a lodge monster?
He might have been.
He might have been.
He really could. That whole place had lodge.
They didn't
feel.
exist yet, Twin Peaks, but he was already hinting at the lodge monster.
Right. No, because it has the same vibe. I 100% believe that to be true.
I don't know why this woman would be a lodge monster. She just sings her song at the Club Silencio.
Yeah, I don't know. I think she might be a victim. Like, people would go sing in the Twin Peaks club, whatever that one was.
Roadhouse.
Yeah, some people are just normal. It's you get tainted. What was that thing sitting up there on the balcony at that Club Silencio? The blue-haired, like, old thing?
Well, some people like to... Why do I say things? Because then you're just going to run with it.
Well, because it's real. People know this.
So some people like to look at the blue in her hair and connect it to the Blue Rose cases of the Twin Peaks universe, because blue is in David Lynch... in another David Lynch project is meant to mean supernatural and unexplainable.
Well, it's in this one too, the box and the key.
See, so this is why I wish I hadn't opened that door. I'm going to open up this box and disappear.
Right, that was the reality collapsing.
This is my argument for why it's not just a woman named Diane Selwyn dreaming about a life as Betty, and why I think both are dreams. I think that this woman won the jitterbug competition, did drugs, fell asleep, and then had 2 very different dreams of what could happen if she went to Hollywood.
Okay.
The reason I think that is because if it's Betty's dream, why does Betty disappear first, and then we keep continuing to watch for a minute from Rita's perspective? It's not Rita's dream in this. If you take that strictly to mean Diane Selwyn fell asleep and dreamt about being Betty, Betty disappears before Rita. So Rita, that can't continue unless Rita is also a part of this. You know what I mean?
No, that's fair. But you know how sometimes if you want to call it a dream, you're not always the person. You're like a third person viewing a dream.
I think they're both whoever's dreaming the movie. I think all the characters, none of them are real. I don't think she went to Hollywood. That's always been my interpretation of the movie. She's dreaming of what life would be like after she became famous in her podunk little town where these two old people named her the Jitterbug Champion. That does not get you a ticket to Hollywood.
But I thought she had an apartment in L.A.
Right, because she wakes up and she comes into a dream scenario. She's living in a beautiful house that's there for free that she can use. She goes to get cast, and unlike everything you ever hear about casting, where it's just you're just standing there and nobody's really paying attention to you, the director's there and he's interested. The Hollywood bigwig producers, people that aren't even involved in the project, just want to see you, even though they don't know who you are. And she nails it the first time, and everybody loves her. That never happens. That's not the Hollywood. That's not real. And David Lynch, of all people, knows that's not real because he works in Hollywood. It's a fantasy. The Betty stuff is a fantasy of what a child would think Hollywood would be like. Or somebody from, I don't know where she's from, Indiana, winning a jitterbug competition.
Canada. She's from deep.
Oh, she was from Canada.
Deep water, or deep river. Deep river.
Even better. Dumber than
Deep
Indiana.
lake. I don't know.
Dumber and more out of touch than Indiana. Canada.
No.
Our enemy, our sworn enemy, Canada, you know. I don't know who the dreamer would be in this scenario, because I don't know who that character's name is that won the jitterbug competition. The one thing I'm sure of is that there was a jitterbug competition won by this person who looks like Naomi Watts. And then she's multiple characters, I think, in the same dream, just taking it two different directions of what could happen if she went to Hollywood. And it's everything you'd hear. It's nothing that would actually exist. This is not the way arriving in Hollywood would ever go for anybody ever. Ever. You know, Naomi Watts, the real Naomi Watts, auditioned in Hollywood for 10 years before she got this part. It was trying to give up. And then David Lynch met her and said, I think you're perfect for this role. So she knows, Naomi Watts knows, this has never happened. This kind of a thing. And she looks exactly like Betty because she's Naomi Watts playing Betty.
Okay. I'm taking it.
But I don't think the Diane thing is any more realistic. Not just because the lodge monsters crawl under the door.
I don't know. There's some kind of lodge monsters. I don't think they're like the big movers and shakers. They're some lesser type of being.
Well, it's not just because they arrive and do this, but it's because that's the darkest thing that could happen if you went to Hollywood. I lose and lose and lose and lose. I lose everything, and then I have to have somebody killed. Like, this is pretty bleak. Usually you're just going to be a waitress and you're going to live there poor being a waitress. Which, by the way, she was a waitress.
Yeah, because I saw the whole name tag thing with the waitress at the restaurant, and there was something.
What do you think about my interpretation of Mulholland Drive, where I do eschew the popular theory?
I think it's facile. I think it is.
It doesn't help my point at all that the jitterbug competition is the one thing that happens before the head falls on the pillow, except for the drugs,
which also often is off camera. Maybe she just was snorting because she had like a cold.
Maybe. So she's having a fever dream. Fine.
Maybe she's just snorting. Some people have allergies.
You still see head hitting the pillow.
You don't see a head hitting the pillow.
You still see the camera hitting the pillow.
I don't know what that. You know what? Throughout this movie, I saw that camera do all kinds of stuff. It would fade in and out of focus. It would run down hallways. It would do stuff. How do I know it just didn't want to go take a nap? The camera itself.
Interesting thing about that. Like, this movie looks every bit the part of that, what we talk about how the independent movies looked. Except because he does such weird things with it, it doesn't feel like it. We've talked about this before. How we have a period of time in film where like everything kind of just felt like it looked the same.
Yeah.
Like flat in a way. And that happens here, especially in indoor scenes. But everything that's happening is so David Lynch and strange that it's timeless again. And plus, he's saving stuff. I've noticed this in his work before. When it's basic stuff, he doesn't care. He's not going to dress it up and make it look as beautiful as it can be. He's saving his tricks for Club Silencio, so when you get there, it's like an astonishing scene. You know, that's some of the coolest David Lynch shit ever, Club Silencio, because it feels like a dream within a dream. You know what I mean? It feels like this place we went that couldn't possibly exist.
Right.
And
So
everything's
it's
just slightly weird.
Well, that could have been a dream, right?
Everything could
No,
be.
because she
I
wakes
told
up
you before. I think that these people play that it's a person playing more than I think at least no less than 4 characters. Because I don't think that there is a Rita or a Camilla or a Betty or a Diane. I think it's dreaming of scenarios of what would happen. You know, a regular person dreaming of becoming a Hollywood star.
You know what? Maybe that's what happened, and you're right because of the deal she made with the outsider. Because it all ties. They're there and they're real. It's in all of his stuff. So I'll buy that. Maybe that's just how it comes out. But it's just a lot happened for really just watched a girl OD on drugs.
It's possible.
Right. So
Although I know she wakes up and shoots herself. But
Oh, yeah.
again, I
That's
don't
what she
think
does.
that's if those
because
are
of the
different-
monster.
But those are different people, and my expectation of it is that the one that did drugs is just the person dreaming all of this, and I have no idea how her story ends. I assume she just wakes up and goes, "Well, I'm not going to Hollywood anyway. I'm stuck here in Podunk, Canada."
Well, don't do drugs. That's what that dream taught me.
I mean, it wasn't pro drugs.
No, I was talking about her. No, I can't see. I cannot get past the fact that there are the room that the dwarf who was a giant was in was all red. So that ties back.
He does red all the time.
Yeah, but it usually has to do with the other side,
Yeah,
blue
sure.
and red. So
Yes.
it was there. So
I'm aware of his motifs.
Okay, well, I didn't know if you knew that because you seem to be saying, "Oh, it's a dream." Then why was it there?
Well, the Black Lodge with the red curtains, of more than anything, is feels like dream space.
Right, and it's all over this movie when you meet those
It's all over all of the movies.
entities, the lodge monsters. So you know that that's a real thing throughout it. There's no dreams. Maybe they interact through dreams.
It's gonna bother me. Just because Michael J. Anderson, the man from another place, is playing a different character in this movie does not mean he's a lodge monster. He's the head of the studio mafia. When we see that they operate very much in reality.
They're all agents. We know that the lodge
How
monsters
about
have
Dan
human
Hedaya
agents.
popping up to be one of the...
Dude, he was terrifying.
It was pretty great, wasn't it?
Right? Like I'm used to him being like the grumpy, irate father,
Yes.
but not like, oh man, this thing is a creep. Oh, and
Yeah,
that
the best line in Clueless by far.
Well,
I like Clueless. Clueless is a good movie, and it's when Brittany Murphy is over for dinner, and her dad's a lawyer, right? And he gets home, he's always busy and grumpy, and she's like, "This is my friend." He's like, "Get out of my chair." It was the whole thing, and I was just like, "That was amazing."
yeah, that was pretty much the same energy, but more terrifying.
It was pretty great.
Oh, and the guy who did the talking really with Dan Hedaya there is in the meeting with the director and the
Is it Angelo Badalamenti?
sure.
Yeah.
They make this huge deal about him getting espresso, like they had
Yes.
to make it the special way because he's not really that human.
There's
he can't drink it.
There's a theory on because coffee is another thing like red and blue that runs through a lot of David Lynch stuff.
I didn't pick. Oh yeah, he like it's a damn fine cup of coffee.
Yeah, and the most basic interpretation of it is it's about being awake. It's about being alert and being aware of what you are. And the reason he would spit this out is because that's not. It's saying something about like what this character's role is in this story. He's not going to be awake and alert to it. When Betty/Diane wakes up out of the /Betty dream, the first thing she does is make a cup of coffee because it's always about. Yeah, but I don't think it goes as deep as people try to make it. Although him spitting it out so distinctly does have to have something to do with what the purpose in this movie is of coffee. Because
he's
it
not
comes up
human.
a few times.
He's not human. I'm telling you, he can't. He can't.
Angelo
take it.
Badalamenti?
Yeah,
That's the guy who does the music for this movie, Twin Peaks, The Return.
okay.
He was great at it. He's dead
He's
too,
not a
but
human.
He's great at it though.
Okay. All right. No, I get it. I just think that any of these cop outs, that's what they are, cop outs. If you think it's a dream.
But no, David Lynch openly talked how dreams aren't just dreams. It's not just you could explain everything away as like it was because dreams have far more meaning in a David Lynch story than just saying, "Oh, it was a dream." It's more like the way the Wizard of Oz uses it,
Well, okay.
where she's dreaming of a land, but the land is real. That's how you. When I say
Yeah.
dreams, they're dreaming of a land, but the land is real.
But you don't think that these events actually took place,
No.
whereas I think they actually take place in a real
Depends on the movie.
reality.
Depends on the movie. The Bill Pullman parts of Lost Highway
Nope,
took
see?
place.
Yes.
But I don't. But in this case, I don't think the Diane Selwyn parts took place. I think that this is just. It's kind of like a way to decode the dream, and it's fun to look at. But I don't think that storyline is any more realistic than the Betty storyline. Because the Betty storyline is the clear Hollywood dream come to life. And look what
Which
she
was
does.
the deal.
Look what she does to the character in the other reality, if you want to call it a real life or another dream or whatever. In the other reality, Camilla has spurned her. But what happens in this new reality she created for herself, where everybody loves her and she's great at the job, great at everything? She needs her help. She's weak and she's desperate, and she comes to me, and now I'm the one who's in control of our relationship. You know, it all adds up in that way. But I just think the two realities are both not both. They're equally dreams, but dreams not meaning they don't exist. They exist in their own reality. Like Oz is in its reality. We're in our reality. Dream is the way that Dorothy gets there. That doesn't mean that reality doesn't exist.
Okay. While you were talking, I was thinking about something else. Because something you said made me think. Don't laugh at me. Anyway,
It was just a classic. Pete says something, and then it always turns out to be cutting on you that you don't realize it till the last second.
that there are, because I just thought of it, like some kind of, like she could have been, I don't know, sexual abuse or something in the past. When I'm looking at, what the hell did you say that made me think about that? Those old people chasing her. When Camilla, it was Camilla spurning her.
Yeah.
Like she almost tried, Naomi Watts almost tried to like rape her or assault her. Like she got very,
Yeah.
like is what you would do. I guess maybe that's what she would have been used to. Like if she had been subjected to that.
There's a reading on this movie that I disagree with, but they make their points and they connect everything that you need to connect. That the movie's about the casting couch in Hollywood. This would be much like Scream 3, a secret Harvey Weinstein movie.
Oh, because that guy kind of seemed like Harvey Weinstein too. The one who went and talked to the lodge monster, the bowels of the studio.
Michael J. Anderson?
Maybe was that
The
him?
Man from Another Place?
Where's he from?
The dwarf from Twin Peaks?
No, not yet. No, the other one, the one who the studio head.
I thought the studio head was Michael J. Anderson.
Oh, maybe it was. No, the one who did the interacting in the meeting, not the head of the studio.
Angelo Badalamenti?
You keep saying their name. Describe him.
Italian?
Okay.
He's the one who spit out his coffee?
Okay. Was that the guy? Yeah, I think that was the guy.
It goes into very great detail about what the meaning of everything is, and that Rita's not even real, that she represents the casting couch. She's the shortcut for an actress to get ahead, and using the casting couch is how she would become big. And it's very convoluted. It has parts that are, it's one of those things where somebody puts enough work into something.
You can figure
It's
out.
like, man, he really put a lot of thought into this. And it doesn't even have that many holes. But it just doesn't feel like it's the story.
Because there was the part, there's lots of parts, but I was just thinking where the bungling hitman was talking with the prostitute.
Yeah.
And then I don't remember, like that scene just kind of happened and then disappeared. I don't even remember it. So
That happens after Rita falls asleep, which is one of those things where it's like, why are we seeing inside Rita's dream if it's just simply Betty's dream, which I don't think it's, or Diane's dream. I simply don't think it is.
I don't think so either.
And I like the explanation that people came up with for it a lot because it explains so much. And it does, this one, unlike the casting couch thing, to me feels like it fits, but it also feels a little too easy because I don't think it's as simple as a woman named Diane is dreaming of a life.
Yeah, I don't think that's it at all either. Like clearly.
I just don't see how Betty's existence could be any more realistic. Or, Diane's existence could be any more realistic.
As opposed to what?
Betty's.
Oh, okay. No, it was. That was the real one until she made the deal. Like, I just can't.
Well,
I think everything was real.
If you would take the lodge monsters, which again, there's no connection to this movie in Twin Peaks. If you would take the lodge monsters, they're entities that can traverse the world.
Yes, including dreams, like because dreams are worlds.
I don't think that David Lynch makes a dream to be a dream. I think they're a portal into other realities.
I'll agree
that
with
the
that.
monsters can all traverse
In certain points too.
Why is the cowboy in both? Because the cowboy can go anywhere. Mm-hmm. And that's, the man behind the dumpster can go anywhere.
Right. Maybe in this again.
It's funny because people
keep saying
think
again.
about that dumpster monster.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, that's the scariest thing David Lynch ever put on film. And I'm like, first of all, I've seen Fire Walk with Me, and I saw Bob transform into Leland as he's fucking his daughter. I don't think it's the scariest thing. But also, it's not as scary as the old people crawling under the door and chasing Diane at the end of the movie. That was fucking terrifying.
When they dropped her off or
I shit
left,
myself too.
when the old people were in the car driving away, when they left Naomi Watts at the beginning, they're laughing and smiling like they've just done something.
That's also creepier than I think the people behind the dumpster.
So when they showed up as tiny people and then grew big and chased her down the hallway, it is a terrifying thing. There's something off. I don't know what they are though. Again, I
think they're clearly meant to be the judges of the jitterbug competition, because I have no choice but to accept that the jitterbug competition is disconnected from both of these stories, because it's shot differently. It's before the credit. It's before anything. And I think that really happened. And these kind old people picked her to be the best jitterbugger, buggerer. And she thought, I'm going to go to Hollywood. And this is her imagining what that would be like. And it's either the best or worst thing that ever happened. There's a life full of mystery and hot lesbian sex. And
oh, yeah. I remember that part. You know what?
That happens actually in the Diane section.
I didn't even know there was a second lesbian sex part, because I only ever saw that first one.
Yeah, so the second one's the hotter one.
Quite the exciting moment for me. I was trying to watch it on my phone that cracked up and broke. And I was like,
that's why your phone's broken.
I'm like, I think that's a nipple. Can't tell, but ooh.
This is my second favorite David Lynch movie.
It's your first favorite.
Fire Walk with
Gross.
Me. We spent it for 2.5 hours talking about Fire Walk with Me once.
Gross. There's something wrong with you if that's your favorite.
That's what we landed on, yeah.
Okay.
Your favorite's Eraserhead, it seems, or Lost Highway.
What? I like this one a lot.
This movie is, in a lot of ways, it feels like a more refined version of Lost Highway, or even everything he's done, because it's still playing in the same ideas and spaces. But it feels like that noir feel to it is really interesting. The mysteries to it are really interesting in ways that I think that are maybe just narratively better and stronger. The performances are really great. And then a cowboy shows up. It's like this. Yeah. It's one of those things where it's like, it's almost, he could have so easily, and never happened, he could have so easily just evolved into a parody. When I tell you that like a cowboy shows up, like that sounds like, oh, somebody's just doing a parody of David Lynch, but it doesn't ever feel like a parody. There's such an earnestness to his weirdness.
As I said, trying to explain it to Kitty when she asked what I was watching, like, am I trying to sum up any of these David Lynch movies? If you take it, it's just nonsense, but it's not. It's really not. It all makes its own sense.
Yeah. Like a dream.
No,
but
kind of, I guess.
Again, when I say dream, stop assuming I'm thinking like when you went to bed last night and you had snippets of things you remember. That's not what I'm saying here. I'm saying it's like visiting another world, like the Wizard of Oz. It's always going to come back to the Wizard of Oz with this guy. Which is funny because I don't even like the Wizard of Oz that much. I do love Return to Oz, but
since we've watched it, that movie has really just stuck around in my head.
So now that we're 5 weeks into the David Lynch thing, you see what I'm saying? We're like, I really wish he could tell me what he thought of Return to Oz.
Yeah, that would be an interesting thing to know. I had another question for you about this movie. Oh no, something I heard with the jitterbug. Jitterbug. That this movie was supposed to be a series.
Yes, this was a TV show. Now, I have a long-standing theory on that.
Okay.
He knew this was never going to be a TV show.
Okay.
Basically, the whole Betty parts, up until they go to Club Silencio, are kind of what happened in the pilot. I've actually seen the pilot. It was saved somewhere on like the Internet Archive or some shit.
Really?
There's more Robert Forster's character who you only get in that one
detective.
Scene. Yeah, the two detectives. There's more of them because it was going to be, they were looking for this missing girl. So take out the jitterbug stuff, take out the drugs and falling asleep, take out that opening. It opens with Rita being assassination attempt, and then follows basically the same plot before Club Silencio. That's basically the hour and a half they shot. So he got like $7 million from ABC to shoot that, and he shot it. I don't think there's any way he thought that was getting picked up to series in 2000 or 1999. I think almost zero chance he thought that was
really, even after Twin Peaks.
I think he takes money where he can get it. Twin Peaks was 1991. It got canceled. They canceled. I guess only 9 years beforehand. But it was ABC again too.
There was a cult following behind it.
I think he took his $7 million and he was like, "Great, I'll shoot it." I don't think he ever thought this was getting picked up to series. It has Robert Forster was known, I guess, but nobody knew who Naomi Watts was. Nobody knew who Laura Herring was. It's incomprehensible, this story. and I almost argue without the ending, especially, but without some of the darker stuff he puts in there, because I don't think the cowboy shit's in there. The Billy Ray Cyrus stuff's in there, right? I remember that. But without some of that stuff, I don't even think it's that good of a pilot. Which is funny because I think the movie's a masterpiece. But that's the difference. Like, I think he got $7 million for it, shot what he got, and then he was like, okay, we're not making that. And he's like, yeah, of course we're not making that. But he already shot $7 million worth, so he just got somebody to give him another $7 million, and he finished it and turned it into something else. I think he just was at that point of his career where he's like, just give me the money, I'll shoot something, I'll figure it out. And I think what happened here is so much more cinematic than ABC was just going to air on, a Sunday night at 9 o'clock? No. They're going to, ABC in year 2000 wasn't going to be picking up a show where two unknown lesbian leads, like, that's never happening. This is like prime Home Improvement era for ABC. He knew there was no way they were picking this show up. This is if this had been later and had been prestige television, AMC would have maybe run this. But the AMC didn't exist yet.
What station did Twin Peaks air?
ABC.
Okay.
But he shot something much more adult here than he shot with Twin Peaks. There's no likable Dale Cooper. There's no zany stuff. It's just a dark Hollywood mystery noir.
All right, yeah. I see your
ABC was
point.
not picking that shit up. Now, again, if he'd done it 10 years later and AMC got their hands on it, they might have been like, great.
Or
Put it next to Mad Men. Put it next to Breaking Bad. It would have been perfectly placed. One of the biggest issues with David Lynch's career is that he's always too far ahead of his time on things.
Yeah, that does seem to be his case.
He broke television the first time around with Twin Peaks because it just changed everything we have now comes in some way rooted out of Twin Peaks, in my opinion. And then he goes to make this, knowing there's no way this is getting picked up because there's no place for it. There is places for it not long after. They just didn't exist when he made this because he's just slightly ahead of his time on it. But this should have been AMC. This should have been a streaming original.
I feel like I haven't seen The Return, but do you think, since you've seen it, like some of those concepts would have played into the series of not Lost Highway?
No,
that'd be a series.
Because the thing about, now this was actually another thing people think about this, seems to have some credence too. This was actually a Twin Peaks show originally. It was supposed to be about Audrey Horne going to Hollywood. That was its original concept. It obviously wasn't that by the time it already got to shooting this, but that does make some sense. So I think that, yes, there could have been some things. Now, The Return, though, is why you haven't seen it yet. It's a different thing. It isn't doing anything you expect it to do. It is almost about the opposite of what these shows are about, these nostalgia shows. It's almost quite the opposite.
At this point, I'm excited to see it, even if it's not what I expect, because that's fine. It'll make its own sense. It's
I think
there.
that The Return makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But I've spent a lot of time on The Return, so it's going to be very frustrating when we get to it.
As much time as I spent on Mulholland Drive?
Yes.
Wow.
It's 18 hours long for starters.
That's a lot of time.
We're going to do it next year. There's 18 episodes. We're going to do 9 episodes of the podcast, just two episodes of the show per podcast. And some of them will be watch-alongs probably.
Okay.
I definitely want to watch episode 8.
Okay.
And I want to watch the last 2. We'll probably watch the first 2. That's probably how that's going to go.
I like the Lynchiverse. I'm excited about
This
it.
is The Return is the culmination of the entire thing. Aspects of every one of these individual things is in that show.
Which is why I think everything is connected, and which is why I think you have to follow the rules. They're standalone stories, but if you know the universe, the sandbox you're playing in, you have a more interesting story even. Hey, what the hell are Ebert and the
This
other
is
guy?
the one. Oh, Siskel was dead by now.
Oh, okay.
This is the one Ebert liked.
Oh, he liked this one. Interesting, because he's hated all of them so far.
This is the one he liked.
I wonder why. Oh, I know why.
Yeah, I know why too. I told you, whenever he sees a girl that he thinks is pretty in a movie, he's never going to bury the movie too hard. So, like, he couldn't explain what he liked about it. I know what he liked about it.
Me too. He's a prevert.
That's your credit check?
Oh, I've got a credit. Oh, Nicolas Cage news. It almost went off the record because it's been tough keeping track of my notebooks, and it was time, and you pulled up, and I didn't have any Nicolas Cage news. I was like, uh-oh. But luckily I remembered my mother had sent me some Nicolas Cage news, and it's real news. Pete's mother. And it's the Spider-Man Noir has a release date. Dun, dun, dun.
I'm going to guess February 2026.
No, I'm sorry. It says Nicolas Cage's Spider-Man spin-off series finally gets release window. And I don't know what the window is because when I tried to look at this article, it just kept going and going and nowhere were there numbers. So I don't know when it's coming out, but it's coming out.
Wow, what news?
It's not my best news, but that's what it is.
It's not your worst.
All right, credit check. There were, again, he is not good with best boys. He's never had a best boy. He always
had a best boy in Blue Velvet, your least favorite.
Oh, that's probably why I forgot. You know, it's interesting. It was probably my least favorite of the Lynch movies I've seen, but I love Kyle MacLachlan so much that it's still up there, and Laura Dern, so it's kind of up there in my rankings, but story-wise, it's my least favorite.
Took me 2 seconds. The release window was early 2026, just as I predicted.
That's a release window. I had a release date.
You didn't, because they allowed a release window. Early 2026.
In my head, I had a release date at some point. It was in that article. I just haven't read it yet.
I predicted February. I was sticking to it.
Anyway, wardrobe. This is interesting. So interesting. You know who the wardrobe was by?
Well, one time, wasn't it House of Pain or something?
It was something. Or they did the music. I can't remember.
No.
They did.
Some, like a band name did like the costuming or something for one of those movies.
You're right.
But I don't remember what it was. That's a deep cut from a long time ago on a podcast no one listened to.
I wish that there was somebody who was keeping track of all these credit things.
I'm surprised I remember that much.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I don't know.
I don't know either because it was in cursive.
Oh.
Like, who does that? Apparently David Lynch. So whoever this was.
You said he was having fun with these now.
This was also interesting. And this is a credit check to Kitty because she watches the credits with me too now. So
Fun for the whole family.
I went to the movies with the kids, and Brian, you're not going to believe this. They made me sit down when I was trying to leave the theater.
Did you watch Minecraft?
We did watch Minecraft.
Did people throw shit?
No.
Okay,
because that's weird.
Yeah.
The kids were all excited about it, but Sam kept telling me he didn't want to get kicked out of the theater, so I had to behave.
What is a chicken jockey?
It's a little goblin thing that rides a chicken.
Why do people care so much?
I don't know.
Let me ask you another question.
Sure.
How is Jack Black in this movie?
How do you think he is?
Unkempt?
Yep.
That's my guess.
You're getting 100% unkempt Jack Black.
As we all know, there are two versions of Jack Black. Over the top, crazy, like he's on drugs Jack Black, and then that Jack Black with a beard. Those are the two we get.
Well, you get that one, but with the beard. You get this latter this time. He's solid. It's a lot of him just shouting. I imagine him shouting in front of a green screen and doing karate kicks.
All I saw from it, and I have no interest in the Minecraft stuff. All I saw from it was at the end. I guess it's a clip from the end of the movie. Maybe it's his name Steve.
Yes.
Does she show up in the real world?
Yes.
I saw somebody yell out when he meets a woman at the door, he's going to fuck. And I laughed real hard at that. And I was like, is Minecraft that funny? Because I would watch it if that guy was in the theater.
No, we saw it at 10:30 on a Saturday.
Well, next time if you have to go back, yell out, he's going to fuck when he gets invited in the door. Because it got a big laugh in the theater I watched the clip from.
Jack Black, perfect as always.
The guy in the crowd was the funnier one in that story.
And then you don't get to listen to the Lava Chicken song over and over and over. I asked people at the bus stop today because one of the other parents asked me if I've seen Minecraft yet.
Oh, thank God. All this time I thought when you said these things, you were talking to the children about it.
I
just pictured you like with a child brain talking to the children.
But yeah, they were the ones who made me sit through the credits. I was ready to go because there's two. If anyone hasn't seen it, there's two after credits things. You got to wait till the very end. There's apparently a girl, original OG Minecraft character called Alex, and Jack Black meets her at the end in the real world.
I think that's when the guy yells out, she's going to fuck.
Oh, that part of it right there at the end. Well, that's the after credits one.
That's my favorite part of the movie.
Anyway, shout out to Kitty. The chief lighting technician was Michael LaViolette. But here's the interesting part.
Michael the Purple.
Yeah. You know how when you have those names like Roy, I'm trying to think of places that have the big L, little like A or E, and then like another word with a capital. Mm-hmm. These were all capitals, but the capital A was small. That was weird too. He's messing with the credits now, Brian. All right. Do you know who the tool man is?
Yeah, Tim Taylor.
No, it's Bobby Vaughn. He's been replaced. And no, this is just more of an observation. There are never any positive cutters in any movie I've ever seen. It's always a negative cutter, and that makes me sad. And I don't know if you know about this yet, but at the very end of the credits, there is apparently there are websites now, and David Lynch has one at www.davidlynch.com. If you haven't checked it out, there's probably some stuff on there.
It's probably at least one update from around January.
I don't know. I've never been to the site, so I don't know.
Well, what do I want to do first? I'm going to take an offshoot of your off ramp into Minecraft, the movie. I also saw a movie with two credit things, end credit things.
Really?
It was Ryan Coogler's Sinners.
I've been hearing about that movie.
Its companion remains my favorite movie of 2025. Sinners is the best movie I've seen in 2025. It's just simply, I was so entertained by Companion in a way that, like, I will rewatch that movie.
Yeah, I'm trying to get Kitty to watch that one.
It's so much fun. And Sinners is a lot of fun too. And it has maybe one of the greatest show-stopping scenes I've ever seen in a movie. But it involves music, so I don't know that you're going to like it. It is the middle of the movie. It is a stunning sequence that is just gorgeous. And then the movie turns into a vampire movie.
Ooh.
And it's cool as fuck. It's like two movies put together. You'd love it. And it's not really two movies put together. You're following the characters all the way through. But the movie completely switches gears into just a full-on vampire movie with really great moments.
It's
a lot of fun effects.
A rare good vampire movie from you.
It's very rare a good vampire movie. And it's very reminiscent in a very different tone and purpose. It's very reminiscent of the Robert Rodriguez from Dusk Till Dawn, because it's about people basically at a bar who come to realize everyone around them is a vampire. And it's cool as shit. And it's in theaters now. It was a huge opening, $61 million opening, I think, worldwide.
I want to see
46 million in America. It was great. It's a little long for you.
You know, when you mentioned the music, I realized at some point while I was watching Mulholland Drive, I realized you could shave off half an hour if you just cut out every part where they were singing. That's an easy half hour because there's a lot of like music and singing. Like, cut it all out.
There's like one scene.
There's that whole
where two different people audition with one song. It takes like 3 minutes.
No, it took like 10.
And that's going to cut a whole half hour out.
Yeah, well, because you can get rid of that whole opening with the jitterbuggers.
That's 30 seconds.
That might have been 3 minutes. Might have been longer. I feel like it was longer. It went on for a while, and it kept going.
Well, I recommend Sinners 100%.
What did Bryan Coogler do?
Creed.
Oh, okay.
Black Panther.
Okay.
Fruitvale Station. Black Panther 2. All acclaimed movies. And it was crazy because they all have a very distinct style and feel to them, and they're really, really great. This was his first original film.
Oh.
Which doesn't feel right because I know Creed's not an original film. It's based off Rocky. But it feels original when you watch it. It's so great.
Did he write this one too?
Yep. Wrote and directed. Michael B. Jordan, of course, is in all of his movies. He plays two characters in this one.
I've seen the commercials for it, but I never listened to the commercial. I just would see it and go, oh, don't know what that's about.
It's a 1932 set Southern vampire film.
This is cool.
That is about two gangsters who return from Chicago having ripped off two different sides for all of their liquor, and they're going to try to make money on it by starting a juke joint. And it's an interesting movie that obviously is about race in there, but not in the way you expect. I think that there's a lazy interpretation of the movie going around. I wrote about this in scarevalue.com. I think there's a lazy interpretation of the movie going around that misses a larger point, which is that the vampires that show up, the initial ones, are white, and they're turned down from coming in because they don't want these weird white people in the thing. And that, okay. And there's an obvious parallel to be made about how they're there to play music and they want to experience all the fun. It's about literally sucking black culture. It's a very clear thing. He couldn't not put it in because it's too perfect an analogy. But most of the vampires they end up around are their own patrons who get bit. So it's almost predominantly black. And the head vampire has no issue. He wants more and more people to be a part of their hive collective. And I don't think that's where the racism in the movie comes from. And then when the movie's about to end, you find out where the racist characters are. And it's awesome because he didn't forget that it's 1932 Mississippi. He's like, the Klan's still going to be around in some form. And it's a very, very fun denouement to the vampire story that, yeah, vampires are just fucking vampires. Also, they're shitty fucking inbred hillbilly white assholes coming for us. It's very cool. and I loved the movie. And it's the best movie of the year so far, I think.
All right. I'm excited to see it now.
Loved it. It has like a full interesting story about these two brothers, and then shit just happens that you just like, oh shit, there's vampires everywhere.
I like those.
It's so
change,
cool.
Yeah.
It's so cool. He nailed it. I thought he nailed it. And I love that his first original film, it still deals with the same themes and stuff he likes to talk about. Black Panther's about black culture. Fruitvale Station's about black culture. Creed's about black culture. They all are just set in different times and set in different realities. Sometimes it's a franchise. Sometimes it's a comic book with hundreds and hundreds of issues to deal with, comic book issues. And sometimes it's a real story that happened. This is his first completely original story. He takes it to 1932. But what's the thing he wants to get to in the end? Well, not in the end, but what's the thing he wants to center in? Horror. And what happened? It's fucking awesome. And it was a big, huge hit. Let's see if you can pick up the lesson on this. It's the biggest original R-rated film opening, but, box office, since Get Out in 2019. Feels like there's a place for black directors making...
Are there not? I mean, is there pushback against?
Of course there is. The headlines, even for this being a success, were that it's not really a success because it has to make so much money to be, it hit a $90 million budget, so it has to make like $180 million.
Oh.
You'd never see this for anything else.
Bullshit.
You'd never see this anywhere else, Pete. Like Variety puts out their headline for a movie that makes less money than this, that has to make more, and they're like, hey, it takes top to the box office. This one, it's like, but actually it has, like, what? Who's asking for this? Like a horror, R-rated horror original film, top the box office. That's big. And it's the first time, the biggest opening since Jordan Peele did it in 2019, which is funny when you think about it, because...
I remember they were making a big deal about Megan when it came out. Wasn't that an original thing?
No, it's PG-13 for one.
Oh, that's okay. Oh, so stupid. All right. I guess I am always surprised and dismayed that there is still this
especially when you see the movie and it's fucking amazing. It's the first and only horror film to get an A on CinemaScore. That's where people leaving the theater rate it. Now, CinemaScore is pretty much junk because like a B- is considered low because so many things just get B's and B-. And they do have A+. There's a few movies that have gotten A+. No horror movie's ever done that, but no horror movie had ever gotten an A before. That tells you how good this movie is for people that don't, obviously the people don't love horror.
Yeah.
And
the ones who do.
Because if it was as simple as I loved horror, then only horror fans would see horror movies and these ratings would be higher. This has a much more broad appeal, and it was great, and 2 thumbs way up. Loved it. Haley Steinfeld's in it.
Ooh, she was the Bumblebee girl.
I did not know that she was 1/8 black in real life, but they used that to their advantage in this movie, and she's pretty good.
I am surprised still that we use
I had to look it up because it's part of her character in the movie, and I thought, would Ryan Coogler cast somebody if that wasn't true?
Just to make it up?
Because doesn't it feel like you shouldn't do that?
Yes.
So I was so curious, and then I found out it was true, and I was like, oh, good. Because I was more, that's why I looked it up. I was just like, I don't think he would do it. I don't think he would cast, like, yeah, she's great in the movie, and she's a great actress and everything, but I just don't feel like he would do it if it wasn't true.
Yeah. I'm glad that he didn't.
Yes, that's where I landed on it too.
Why put it in the story then?
Right. It's important to the story.
Yeah.
But I was glad that he cast somebody authentically.
Because there are real people.
Yes.
And they're not mythical.
And a much bigger deal in 1932 than it even is now, which, people suck now. But in 1932, Mississippi, it's going to be a bigger deal than it's going to be in 2020.
I thought we burned that place down.
2020. I looked up, because I thought 1932, that's got to be Prohibition, which is part of the story. I looked it up. Mississippi had Prohibition until 1967.
I believe it.
Fucking what the fuck? Yeah, I think you can still fuck 12-year-olds there, though.
Probably.
Ugh.
Doesn't make either of them right.
Can't even get them drunk first.
I was about to say, well, that's unfortunate, but that doesn't help anything. It makes me the monster. Now I'm the lodge monster. See? I didn't even make a deal. I did. I made a deal for all this podcast fame.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no.
So this is the end of David Lynch month. But as we talked about, we will return in the return next year.
And it's going to bring them all together.
It is going to bring them all together.
So
Naomi Watts is there playing a third character.
I am so excited for this now. But Bill Pullman does not come back.
Bill Pullman died in an electric chair at the end of Lost Highway.
He really did. So you're telling me he doesn't come back?
He does not come back.
All
These
right.
characters don't come back in that. It's just that these actors all do.
He could have come back. You know what? Maybe he came back as somebody else and we don't know because he face changed again. Did you ever think about that when you watched it?
I did not.
That's why you got to that's why I need to watch it.
I didn't think when I was watching a separate property. I did not think. I wonder if this is Bill Pullman. Am I do that for every movie?
Just David Lynch ones. So he could have, I didn't think about it, but he could have been somebody in this movie. He could have been the cowboy for all I know. Maybe he's learned mysterious things while he takes those lost highways.
So this is the end of David Lynch month. And I feel like we learned very little.
I learned a whole bunch.
I know, but I lost a lot. So I feel like as a combined we learned very little. It still came out on the plus side, but barely.
All right.
And I'm going to say, like, there's not another director I'd do this for. And listen, there's a lot of directors I love. There's a lot of horror directors specifically that did horror. He didn't even do really horror that I love. I think that this is the only director I could stand doing a month of because his movies are so different and interesting and unique, even though you're trying to make them all the same.
They're not all the same. They're 100% not all the same. It's within the, I guess, the sandbox of this world where these things exist.
I think that David Lynch is maybe the most important director of the post Golden Age of Hollywood because he changed what movies kind of are. They didn't change what movies are for every movie, but he opened the door to like what people will accept as cinema. This was not happening. These movies weren't happening like Eraserhead before Eraserhead that could be seen somewhere in theaters and then became latched on and people are still watching it 45 years later. It didn't happen. And there's no movies like Mulholland Drive. People do shades of it, but these wholly original things coming out.
You say that, and I guess I have to agree because it is, when you're watching a David Lynch movie.
Yeah.
There's just something that is wholly his.
But
and
you
can
also
tell.
know when you're watching something that's been inspired by David Lynch, and it's everywhere, especially on television, which is why it's so funny. He's the great film director. But Twin Peaks had inspired more things than anything ever.
I'm waiting for an example.
Of what, Twin Peaks?
Yeah, what it inspired.
Oh my God, there wouldn't be Buffy the Vampire Slayer without Twin Peaks. There wouldn't be Firefly without Twin Peaks. There wouldn't be Sopranos without Twin Peaks. That's not how TV worked. There was no, first of all, there was no film language being used on television. It was all blocking and shoot. He brought a cinematic thing to network television that did not exist, period. So just take the way it looks. Forget what it's doing, but then think about what it's doing. And it's not giving you a simple weekly narrative. It's expanding what storytelling could be. It's the most profound thing that was ever on. And this is why I also think The Return is the best thing ever. Because where he didn't do was go back and give you what he gave you the first time. Because he couldn't. Because what Twin Peaks was in 1990 when it aired wasn't just, okay, yeah, it's this quirky good show. We've seen a lot of quirky good shows since then that are doing what that does. He thought what made it revolutionary at the time was that nobody's seen anything like it. So when he brought The Return back, he did that again. This must have been what it felt like when I watched it in 2017, what it felt like in 1990 to be watching ABC and going, what is happening? How is this on television? Because he did it again. He broke the format again. He's still ahead of its time. So I think he's maybe the most influential guy. Again, there's eras for this. John Ford influenced Spielberg and like that tree is just too big. But David Lynch is like, anybody can make a movie. Pick up a camera and shoot something fucking weird. And it became so popular. So I wouldn't do this for any other director. Even like a John Carpenter. I just couldn't see doing a John Carpenter month.
Who directed Poltergeist?
Tobe Hooper. You know that. It's been a crux of your insanity for a long time.
All right. I think I like that Tobe Hooper guy.
You're not going to find 5 movies you want to do from Tobe Hooper.
I'll just do Poltergeist 5 times.
I don't think you would.
It's a pretty good movie. I could show it to each person in my family because they haven't seen it yet. I think Kitty's seen it. I'm pretty sure both the kids have seen it. But I could do it anyway because they might not remember.
Your kids have a good chance not to because they might have your brain.
Hey.
What? You don't remember what I said, so it's all right.
No, I don't. I was thinking about something one of the kids said to me. It made me feel bad.
So this is it. What'd you end up with here on David Lynch?
I like him.
Yeah.
It's annoying because you have to watch his movies more than once. I don't think you can just sit through them one time because you are left with a lot of questions.
I feel like I did it with Eraserhead, and
Really?
we did it a second time for this. And when I watched it, my first thought was, yeah, I could have just watched it the one time.
You know what? You're probably right. That's the kind of movie I would show to somebody. I'm like, hey, look at this weird shit. Like, come sit here, watch.
It's the kind of movie I wish I had seen in a theater in 1977.
All right, I'll dig that. And it doesn't really have any tie-in. I bet you, just because it was new, I bet you I could tie it into his weird.
You'll be able to tie it into The Return, I think, because when he ends up in another space, it feels very much to me like
That tower with the weird clock guy banging away.
even into some of the
buildings,
the structures and things. The
industrial park kind of thing.
you get some of that
Okay.
on
see?
Dale Cooper's journey. He seems to be traveling through Lynch worlds as much as he travels through
Yeah. That
Twin
sounds.
Peaks.
That sounds
because
really.
he's not going to give you Twin Peaks because he can't. What he's giving you is the Twin Peaks experience, which means you're
the
not prepared for
multiverse.
this. You don't know what's going to happen, and it's not going to be what you want. It's not what you expect ever.
It's the multiverse. We're gonna get all the Spider-Mans.
Yes, this was the one time the multiverse worked.
and it's gonna-
David Lynch movie.
I think it's cool. They didn't work with the Dark Universe, although they've got a whole thing at believe. Where do I go for the Halloween Horror Nights? Orlando Universal Studios.
Yeah.
They have a whole new park that's based on those Universal monsters.
Because they were so popular.
It's
The
all-
new ones, not the old ones.
What do you mean the new one? Yeah. It's
Yeah.
all the new ones.
Because they were so popular.
They got Russell Crowe. He's there.
The famous monster Russell Crowe.
He was Dr. Hyde and Mr. Jekyll.
Do they have Tom Cruise doing a set of some punchlines in one corner?
He was. Well, it's a hologram. It's not the real Tom Cruise. He's too big. And also, I
He's
heard
not that big.
I heard that that's true, but he's unsettling. If you look at him for too long, there's something off.
Also, they got it right. I'd like to see. I hope that his whole shtick though is that he's doing punchlines for himself, and that I want to see that now.
I haven't heard it yet. I want to see though. What else? I think that's all. They have the Invisible Man room.
Why would they do this instead of just using the classic monsters people care about?
They are using the
Okay,
classic.
'cause I was gonna say, people care more about Boris Karloff than they care about whatever they would have done in this.
It's based on all the
I
originals.
think it would have been Harvey or Bardem had they ever done it.
Oh well, nope. It's the original, so we get all of that.
All right.
It's too bad though, because that Russell Crowe one.
It's the famous monster Russell Crowe.
The Invisible Man's just an empty room. You just stand in line and walk through it for 6 hours.
Wait, last time when you went and you said the Invisible Man room was one of the 12 things, I said I think they robbed you of one.
That's true. Yeah, I like David Lynch.
Well, he would have been happy to know that.
He should.
He
He's
wouldn't have
pretty
cared
good.
one way or the other. He doesn't care if you like his stuff.
You know what? I bet you if he had listened to this podcast, he would have said, Pete's got it right. Pete figured it out. For all of his talk about not having a narrative, he's like, Pete gets it. Pete understands it. But he didn't get to listen to this podcast.
Finally, someone cracked the Mulholland Drive code
Right.
and recognized that the bungling hitman had an even more bungling assistant we never talked about.
When you say it like that, it makes me sound foolish, but that is what happens.
And he got his orders from an unseen lodge monster.
The lodge monster just had fake arms and legs to make him look big. He was in the lodge.
When does he make a deal with Naomi Watts?
It wasn't him. She made it with somebody else. We don't see that either.
okay, that's what I'm saying.
Right, there's
so
two
an
opposing.
unseen lodge monster.
Yeah, we don't see that. We might have seen it. It might have been the dumpster monster.
The dumpster monster is definitely holding on to her memories.
Yeah, I guess.
Or if that's what that is, it could just be a gateway to the other dream.
I think it's both.
That thing is more dream logic than anything, the blue box. What's in
Yeah.
the box?
Apparently nothing. Or Rita.
Diane.
Diane. Yeah, because that cowboy brought her back to life when Diane was dead on the bed.
Well, no, but yeah.
Yeah, he's like, time to get up.
It's one of the interesting things about why I don't think that it's just a simple dream thing, is that they walk in and see the body laying as it would be after she shoots herself.
Interesting.
And when you watch it, Laura Herring's character is like horrified by it. Betty, whose body this presumably would be in the other reality, not that upset by it. Like, she understands that it's there and understands it's an interesting moment.
See, I got to watch that again because I don't. Damn you, David Lynch.
Well, I hope not, because
Oh, I take that back. All right, fine, whatever. All right, I guess go watch these movies if you want to.
this movie is often put on top of best of lists for the century. I think it's easy to see why. It's A movie you can watch 5 times, I guess, in a row.
What year did it come out?
2001.
Okay, so this century, there's only been like 25 years of movies after it.
Man, your math is getting great.
So I
26 if you consider the 2000.
I hit my
years.
I hit my head when we went to go see the Minecraft movie pretty bad.
And now you know math.
I guess so. I wonder what I forgot. That's why I stopped learning things a while ago, because every time I learned something, I had to forget something else.
That's true. All right. We're going to wrap it up. Back to David Lynch next year, so it's not goodbye. I'm glad we're doing David Lynch again next year because I was going to be really sad because I enjoyed all these David Lynch movies.
I am sad that it's taken me this long and now he's dead and now I will never get a continuation
Of what?
of whatever this weird universe is he makes.
I mean, you have 18 hours of it to go, almost the length of his entire filmography.
Yeah, but after
Coming
that,
up.
there's nothing else.
That's true. There is nothing else after the 18 hours you haven't watched.
I bet you I could write a pretty kick-ass sequel.
A sequel to what?
Twin Peaks: The Return.
Oh, no. I would kill you if you tried that. You want to write it based off of the 8 episodes you saw of season 1, the handful you saw at the beginning of season 2, and then Fire Walk with Me.
Yeah, but I'm going to bring in everything else too.
But it's a sequel to The Return, which you haven't seen.
Right.
Okay.
I'll wait till after I see The Return so I can really nail it.
Oh, that's kindness. All right. We're going to go. I don't have anything to close with.
Me neither. Close the box and then you'll disappear.
What happens if you open the box?
Oh, yeah, right. What happens if you close it? I don't know either. Look, you don't know. You never know.
They come back, I guess.
I guess. That's why the box was open in the bag. Was that meat in the bag of the monster? The dumpster monster? I saw. It looked like garbage. That's why, because there was like a pull tab, like from a pop can. There was one of those rings just sitting there, and it looked like there was meat, but I couldn't see because, again, my screen was all messed up. And then when I tried to watch it in the morning, the sunlight was shining on the TV. I was holding the curtain over the window, like just trying to watch. That's when Kitty walked in and she said, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm trying to block the sun."
Just as David Lynch intended. Cinema. All right. We're going to go. Next week is... next week's Companion.
Yay!
We talked about Companion a bit on this, and I guess spoiler alert, I loved Companion.
I hated it.
No, that's not true. You already said you liked it.
I liked it.
So I guess doing these out of order has really burned us. I didn't realize what was next. All right, we'll see you next week for Companion starring Jack Wade,
Dun dun.
Sophie Thatcher,
Who?
and Bill Pullman as one of the people in the movie. See you next week.